spent my first 15 years trying to get out of the woods because I thought it was horrible. And I spent the next 20 years trying to get back. The truth of the matter is we need to be well-rounded individuals like our forefathers were.
Good evening, one and all. This is T with Mountain Readiness. It has been a couple weeks since I got to hang out with you guys, man. I've missed everybody out there in the preparedness community. And, of course, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, to say the least. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff. But tonight, I've got a couple of of my homies right next to me here. Of course, the Triple G. This guy here has the prettiest jeans in the business. I'm going to tell you, this guy's classy. Hate to see him go. Love to watch him leave. Mr. Brian Loftus, Survival Gear BSO.
Paul Christopher, that was for you, sir, if you're listening.
That was for Paul Christopher right there. Threw that out there about them sexy jeans. And, of course, the man, the Wizard of Oz that always hangs out in the back behind the curtain, making the magic happen on the Angery Nation, and also helping out here with us here at Mountain Readiness Mondays, our good friend, Mr. Russ Sawyer. Russ, what's going on, dude?
Well, I mean, if Brian's the Triple G, man, I got an ugly covered when I get here, so we're good to go.
Not everybody can be
it is
like
what it
Brian.
is. I know.
Not everybody
gave up a long time ago.
Right. You know, it takes a lot to style like the Triple G does. I mean, it's
man, I'm never going to live that down. One time I wear nice jeans to an event, I'll never live it down.
And shout out to our audience, of course, guys. Ring the bells, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. And Sandra Davis, my man Matt King. Hope you're doing good, Matt. You guys keep Matt in your prayers too. He is there in South Carolina still, I believe, without power. Testing them preps. We had a little bit of that action ourselves, as well as everybody else here. And of course, Patrick, Seven, Will, Christy. Christy's always here with us. Love you, Christy.
Absolutely.
Thanks for hanging out. But it's been an eventful couple of weeks, and
It really has.
we wanted to talk about Hurricane Helene and the new hurricane coming, it looks like, directly for the state of Florida, which is not cool, not good at all. Already a Cat 5. I didn't even know. I thought it just became a Cat 5. Russ, you were saying it's been a Cat 5.
Sometime this afternoon. But I tell you, it's Florida is going to get hit. Not just certain parts. I think, according to a lot of the models I've seen, unless it slows down, Florida, pretty much the whole place is going to get hit in some way, shape, or form. And we have a lot of friends down there, friends that we've met through your event, especially T. That they're in our prayers. And they know they can call if they need our help.
At this point, that's all we can do, man. A lot of it is just prayers and people being good people and neighbors and helping one another. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to down. Let me just clear this up right now. I have talked to people that I can't name who are out there in the field, some firefighters, some police, some volunteers, a couple Green Berets, guys who have been war fighters for years. And there is a lot of not truth on the internet. There is, about FEMA and things like that. And just like all the different entities of government, you have good people and then you have not good people. There is a lot of not good people, but there is still good people that are trying to do good things. So Asheville, I would say, being one of the most jacked up train wrecks that I've heard stories coming out of thus far. Thus far, I have not actually been in to Asheville. We have been all through Ashe County, which is in our backyard, about an hour away. Ashe County is one of those areas that doesn't get a lot of the publicity because they are not a tourist attraction. They're not a big, huge city. They're not popular. And I will tell you that the things that we saw were heartbreaking and gut wrenching, to say the least. Guys, the stuff that you see on social media that they clip together and make little videos and stuff, yeah, it's bad. But seeing this stuff with your own two eyes, I'm going to tell you, it is mind blowing. I'm not going to get deep into a bunch of conspiracy stuff, but I'm going to tell you that rain and the destruction that it made, it's just not normal. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That whole cloud seeding weather control thing, blips on the radar, I'm going with it. I think they are trying to clear out areas just like Maui, that it's a land grab. I said it. That's it. Don't care. Facebook, YouTube, do with me what you want. I ain't making no money on this channel anyway. It's not monetized. Don't care.
I was hearing the same thing all this past weekend. I was at another event, a really nice one. You guys ever get the chance to go to Central Ohio Bushcraft or Central Ohio Outdoors Gathering, what it's called. Bushcraft, survival, some homesteading, real small, very quaint. It's in Zanesfield, Ohio. And a lot of the people who were there were chiming in because they were supposed to be down in Saluda last weekend, or the weekend prior, during Helene, when that got hit. And that's the exact same thing one of the ladies there was saying. She said it's a land grab. It is a land grab. They get something like $153 billion worth of whatever they have. There's certain assets out there the government is just looking to get to. So somebody else mentioned this is
there's other stuff you have, and let me see here. We have John. He said T's voice could come up a bit. I just cranked it up just a little bit. Do I sound okay now? Somebody give me a 5. What is that?
Yeah, 5x5. You sound good over here, T.
All right. Maybe I just need to ram my face into this mic a little harder. Remember BlackRock, not to mention BlackRock and Vanguard, the two companies that literally own everything in the entire freaking world. $90 million contract for the lithium mining there through that area. That's already been signed. It's a done deal. So just coincidence, I'm sure. Let's see. They're loud. Tia is harder to hear. That's surprising. I'm deaf, Christy. Usually I'm big mouth. I don't know how it is that is literally the first time that anyone has ever said, "Man, I can't hear you, T." My wife, my beautiful wife, tells me all the time I need to shut up and quiet down. So,
who we're all praying for. She's recovering right now from her operation. So prayers going out there to Amber.
It's I'll tell you guys, for those of y'all that don't know, Amber had to go in for yet another back surgery. This is number 9, and we ended up with some complications once again. So if I haven't been returning phone calls and texts and posting like I try to usually do, this is why. We're, we've got everything from the hurricanes, plus Amber just had another back surgery that we're having issues with. Plus we're doing getting ready for Mountain Readiness stuff. And it is a interesting time for all of us. So keep us in our prayers as long as all these people around us that's been having these, a lot of these people, man, it's sad. We're just so everybody knows that you're watching too. I'm trying to get a GoFundMe type deal set up that doesn't have the fees. I don't remember what it is. I found one that doesn't have the fees. I'm going to get it set up. You guys can donate, and what we're going to do is we're going to make visible what we take in and what we put it towards, and we're not going to use anyone but me, myself, and I. We are going to whatever we buy with it, we're going to post up and we're going to go out in the field and we're going to find people that need whatever it is they need, and we're going to buy it for them and giving it to them in person, because we can't trust. We have a lot of people around us in this network that are great, but there is a lot of entities that I've heard are snatching up stuff of donations,
That they
and we're
are.
not going to allow that to happen. So we are
Absolutely.
going to set it up, and we will take the money and we will buy people what they need and deliver it to them in person, so we know it actually got to them.
Absolutely.
Speaking, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
What is Russ?
I'm gonna just cover a couple things that are in the chat over there. First off, guys, we did hear from Sularu. Him and his wife Robbie are doing fine. And Matthew King, I know you're not too terribly far from me as far as the pro fries. If you need a break from where you're at, come on down, my brother.
Awesome. And then Brian, of course, was down at the Saluda event, prepper camp, and
I wouldn't say I was there.
got stuck.
I made it 22 minutes from the event, but never actually got there.
You made it Sunday evening to help EJ Snyder load up.
I did. I did. That was the only time I could make it in there. There were too many down trees, power lines, washed out roads. I mean, it was rough.
And now, and let me throw this out there to the viewing audience and whoever may watch this. I actually have come across a few posts that were smack talking Mountain Readiness because of what we posted up about honoring if you couldn't make it to prepper camp. So let me make this perfectly clear, guys. I got nothing against prepper camp. I don't go to prepper camp. I don't care if people go, whatever. We literally saw that a whole bunch of vendors and people didn't get to make it to learn about preparedness. And so because there is a no refund policy, and I get it, I know how this works when you run events. You got a whole lot of expense out of pocket, guys. There ain't no lie. I mean, you bleed money on these things. I should know. But we felt the need, with given the circumstances of this world and how ridiculous it has become, if you are trying to learn how to be better prepared and you tried to go to prepper camp and you could not make it because of the storm, bring your tickets to us. Well, first, join Mountain Readiness community. You can get on Mountain Readiness, www.mountainreadiness.com. Go up there to the 3 bars, click it, become a subscriber. As soon as you do, send us emails, say, I tried to make it to prepper camp. We couldn't make it. I got a family of 5, and bring me your ticket. We'll let you in for free, because preparedness is that important. We want people to be able to take care of themselves more than ever now. I mean, look at this.
Absolutely.
We got wars, we got floods, we got, it's a train wreck. We got the border. I mean, if you weren't looking into preparedness by this time, man, you messing up. You need to get right. You need to get right.
You got that right. I've never seen something like this happen. There's so many things going on at the same time in our world, and politically, how much of a disaster it is. Now we've got natural disasters, natural or not, whatever your thoughts are, still a disaster.
Yeah.
So no better time to learn to be prepared than right now. So get out there, go to the events, read some books, watch some YouTube channels, learn something.
Yeah, and then Patrick, yes. And look, guys, Chris is as far from being a Fed as the man in the moon. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not the case. There is no such thing. Chris does a lot of stuff behind the scenes to help, and has done a lot of stuff behind the scenes to help with what's going on here in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee.
And is continuing to do it.
And continuing to do it, even though he's gotten kicked in the teeth and slapped in the face a few times for it. So, yeah, anybody out there that's got something to say about that, hey, look, it's not the case. It's not true. We're not dissing anybody in the preparedness community. More power to you. Anyone that wants to take on and pick up the torch to put on a preparedness event repeatedly, my hat off to you, because it's a lot of freaking work to organize stuff like this, no matter how little and it may seem. There's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes. So
A lot of
I'm
moving
all about it.
pieces.
Yeah, a lot of moving pieces. So I'm all about it, and I'm glad people are, doing these events because, guys, we need this more than ever. And I personally, we didn't get smacked that hard. I mean, we got hit hard here, but our preps held up. All right, guys, we had a few minute things that happened that we had to address, but most of it was covered. But, I even personally have found deficiencies, which you will always find deficiencies. There's no such thing as always being prepared. You can't be prepared for everything. And if anyone will slap you straight in the mouth, it's Mother Nature. You can't win. All right. You have to work with Mother Nature.
Absolutely. I mean, that's reason those that teach this stuff tell you to go out. Like, well, you have a rucksack. Well, go out and train with it. See how long it will last you. That's why you do it. Because it will show your deficiencies.
And you're going to have them every single time. I'll tell you a couple that I've had, and then we want to talk to Brian where he was stuck in a parking lot, but he had a lot of stuff that he wished he would have had, but he had some other stuff with him that made the whole difference.
It sure did.
To help him ride out the storm, so to speak, no pun intended. So, but here at the homestead, guys, if you can't tell back here, there's food everywhere. This is how I live. It looks like a episode of Hoarders. It is what it is.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. At least it's clean and organized. There's protein powder up there and salt and all kinds of stuff. They have freeze dry food. So, as far as food, we were good. Our generator is a smaller Honda. It's not a whole house generator, but it handles necessities because that's all I care about is keep the refrigerator and the deep freezers running, and then television to watch a DVD, just to pass some boredom, or run some lights so I can read a book, or so I'm not in complete darkness. But I found out two things. Number one, it's the first time my generator is a 3500. It's not huge. It handles everything. It's got 4 110 plugs on it, and it has 1 220 plug. It at 3500 watt generator does not produce enough juice to spool up a 220 well pump. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Do it. Won't do it. And as a regional operations director and as a manager on road crews, my guys, whenever they would do a job, if they worked on the air system, they had to test the air system when it was done. If they worked on electrical, they had to test the electrical system when it was done, or I just chastised them. Well, shame on me because I did not test that prep. I assumed that 3,500 watt generator could spool up my well pump. It could not. So, of course, we have backups to all of our preps, guys. We have a artesian spring that's capped off, so water just dumps out, and we just fill up pure water. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. We're blessed. But if we didn't have that, then we would have been in the same boat as everybody else, purifying water out of the pond, out of the stream, or fighting the hordes to get water, because just like toilet paper, the water depleted within minutes, and so did all the generators. I don't understand it too. How many asses do you have to wipe during a hurricane? I mean, it's like all the toilet paper disappeared again. It's like a thing. I get it. You need toilet paper, but it's pretty low on my list, man. I can find a lot of stuff to wipe my backside on. I don't understand it. But yes, so that's what I figured out. The well, and you're right, John, startup amp, it's too much for it. It just could not get it spooling up. And I got up to about, I think, 8 PSI in the system, and not enough to, give us pressure in the house. So shame on me for not testing my prep, but damn Skippy, I know now, and we've already started working to solve that problem. So, but tell us about Brian being stuck there. What was the name of the town right outside of Saluda that you were in?
I was in Flat Rock. Flat Rock, North Carolina. And I'm doing the same thing now, T, that you just mentioned. Was, we get a little dry run here of what worked and what didn't work. And I'm doing that same thing for my vehicle. I was headed down there for prepper camp, 5, 10, maybe 15 grand worth of survival equipment loaded up in the back of the trailer. I'm hauling this thing. It takes me about 13 hours to get there. Usually takes about 10, but that weather was pretty wicked. 13 hours. I get there. I had to get a hotel. As I was telling Russ a little earlier before we jumped on here, I said I was actually set up at a glamping site. I've never done glamping before. I don't know if anybody else out there has done glamping, but it looked really nice. I always wanted to do it. I'm like, all right, I'll be there on my own. No extra set of hands for me at this event. So I'll take a break. I'll treat myself. I'll do some glamping. It looked real nice. Elevated bed, kind of a half log cabin, half canvas tent, bearskin rugs. Well, they called me about halfway through my drive, and they said, the units are gone. And I said, what do you mean they're gone? You rented it out from underneath me. I said, I've had these rented for months. They said, no, they're gone. Like, the weather here has gotten so bad so fast, they're just washed away. Our units are gone. The entire facility is underwater. And that was the end of that. So fortunately, I was able to scramble and get a hotel room. Yeah, 22 minutes. I made it within 22 minutes of the venue after driving 13 hours. And I didn't get there until Sunday to help EJ Schneider pack up. But what happened was I was running pretty low on fuel. I had about 3/8 of a tank left when I pulled in. It was Thursday night, and I was exhausted. And the same parking lot as the hotel was a gas station. I figured I'll just get gas in the morning, and I'll try to make it out there. Well, obviously, it got very, very bad overnight. It hit, I think, around 3 a.m., and it was pretty bad until about 10 a.m. We lost power. Of course, can't get any fuel. There's no power. Pumps weren't running. So I tried to make it out there to the event. Again, it's a little over 20 minutes away. I get on the highway. It's I-26. I'm headed down 26. And the amount of trees I saw down was just astronomical. Power lines and trees like crazy. So I get off at the exit I was supposed to get off at. Tried about 4, 5, 6 different ways to get there. Couldn't get there at all. Everything was either down trees, down power lines, washed out roads. There was a couple of gas stations there, no power. I had to end up dropping my trailer in the parking lot of a BP station. And fortunately, I kind of go with that gray man theory. My trailer is actually gray. I don't put my logo on the side of my trailer. There's a reason why. If I leave that stuff there, the reason I left it there was I didn't want to eat through my what little existing fuel stores I had left. I'd have never made it back to the hotel. If I'd have left the trailer there, it says Survival Gear BSO real big on the side of it in a website. I come back and all that stuff's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. So that's why I don't put any labels, any company logos, anything like that on the side of my trailer, because I never really know where I'm going. I can go through some pretty shady areas of town. This didn't seem shady, but again, you're dealing with a life and death situation for most people. So I ended up dropping that trailer 5.5 miles on I-26 to get back to my hotel. It took me almost 6 hours. We're jammed up there. Everybody's shutting the power off. And fortunately, I was pretty set. I did a little, grabbed my cell phone. I did a little impromptu video of some of the things that I had, and some of the things in hindsight I probably should have had in the vehicle, but I didn't. There was a young couple who was a couple cars ahead of me, and they jumped out to jump over the rail to go to the bathroom, and there really wasn't much coverage at all. Now I keep a roll of toilet paper, a roll of wet wipes, a roll of paper towels in the car. I even have some cases for the wet wipes and for the toilet paper, the tactical toilet paper roller, and tactical wet wipes holder.
One inside you there, though, that contrary to what anybody's going to say, the tactical toilet paper holder and wipes is the bomb.
It is.
Given one of these, I'm just going to throw it out there, y'all. If you don't have a tactical toilet paper holder and wipe holder, hit Brian up. Thing's amazing. I've got one. Thanks to Brian. And it's worth every penny, guys. But proceed. I had to jump in there because I like it. I have it on my bag back here.
I'll tell you what, it's so handy. It really is. And I leave it in the back of my vehicle. I've got Molly paneling on the back of my vehicle. I just get a carabiner and clip it up there. But this young couple, they were very grateful. And I said, I have a full-size wool blanket in the back of the car too. Because this guy came out with like a little hoodie to cover his wife up with, wife or girlfriend or whatever it was. I'm like, you're not going to cover up. I mean, there's hundreds of people sitting here just watching you do your business. Here's a full-size wool blanket cover up with, and here's some wet wipes and toilet paper. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Where'd you get this? So I was like, oh, here's a business card. So it was working out in that respect. Some of the things, so I was loaded down pretty well. I had about 4 gallons of water in my car. If I needed to stretch my food, I could probably go 3 to 4 weeks with it, eating maybe a half a meal a day. I keep a boatload of food in the car. And every time I travel to any of these shows, I always have my camp cook set with me, some propane stuff with me, about 4 cans of propane. Now, I've got utensils, I've got spices, I've got all that stuff to make the food taste a little bit better. But I had plenty of rain gear, ponchos, obviously knives. Now, if I would run on my water, I always keep a couple grails in the back of the car. And I have my Sawyer Mini so I can filter water. One of my favorite sayings is, he who stays hydrated the longest wins. But I was set up pretty good. We got back to the hotel. No power was there. So everybody's just kind of sitting outside the front of the hotel and getting to know one another. And my buddy, Philip, if any of you guys are aware of Philip Liebel, he's with Primitive Wilderness Survival. He was coming from Texas to support Survival Mastery with EJ Snyder. He drove like 15 hours. His wife, his 2 kids, they're like 4 and 9, I think. And he had nothing. Like, Phil is a primitive guy. He literally had bows and arrows in the car and like handmade, out of sticks and out of stone and some jute twine, handmade knives. He was like bare bones, nothing. He didn't think he was going to run into anything that bad. So I was able to help Phil out with some of his food preps and water stores and stuff, especially when you get kids. You can never be too careful when you've got young kids with you. But we were doing A-okay. What I should have put in my vehicle in hindsight, knowing what I was headed into, a chainsaw with extra fuel. Absolutely, I'll be putting that in my vehicle next time when I've got to travel out that way. Yeah, that and drones. Yeah. I actually have my drone, little DJI drone. It's still in the box. I just got it a couple weeks ago. I haven't had time to open it up and play with it. It's in my dining room. I definitely should have brought that with me because what I could do is I could open up that sunroof and set that drone out as kind of like a recon to see how bad it is ahead of me. How long am I going to be waiting in traffic? Is it a mile long? Is it 10 miles long? And then the situation that you had here with the hurricane, let's say I ended up like this guy, John Norwood, who unfortunately lost his fiance in the waters, in the flood water. She was swept away. They did find her body, sad to say. But if I lose a loved one, I can send that drone out and at least try to get eyes on where I can't currently get eyes on where I'm at. So a couple of cool things I would put in my car. Definitely.
Well, that's a great idea, Brian, because I've got a drone and I don't use it enough. That's a great idea to have that in your vehicle, especially with natural disasters like this. You got trees down all over the place. It's going to take you a while to saw that tree up. That drone can get anywhere you need it to get. That's an awesome idea. I think that I'm going to throw mine in the truck too. That is that should be part of the truck prep for sure.
It's on my list of next preps to buy. But yes. you mentioned Brian, you mentioned John, and you talked to us a little bit offline. I guess they're setting up a GoFundMe or something for him.
They're setting up a GoFundMe for John Norwood. Now, John was on. Don't ask me which episode. I'm not sure. He was on Forge and Fire, and he runs a blacksmithing place. He is a blacksmith. Runs his own business. I think it's called Old Valley Forge.
Old Hickory Forge.
Old Hickory. That's what it's, Old Hickory. And yeah, his entire shop was swept away. He has just come out of surgery. I don't know how many surgeries he's had. I don't know exactly what his injuries are. The last I read, which was earlier today, they said he's come out of surgery. They're trying to control his pain, his blood pressure. Prayers are going out for his fiance. So they're trying to raise about $250,000 for John to get back onto his feet. I think they're at about 112,000 right now. So it's really good turnout for John.
Up there, Russ. Throw that up there for guys. You know, this is just one of many, and I want to throw a little light on this as well. And I know I'm sure a lot of people have been talking about this with the hurricane and the damage done. But look, guys, these people in these areas, most of them do not have flood insurance. Okay. Because it doesn't flood in the mountains. So that means that the insurance companies are not covering most of these damages. That means people's houses that have been completely swept away, they literally have nothing anymore. The insurance is not covering it. They are homeless with nothing.
Don't worry about it, though. The United States government stepped in. They're going to give them $750 each.
$750
covered, right?
No, that's a loan. And today it is a loan. Yes,
it's a loan.
And they have it on X right now. They have it on X right now that one of the press people called out the press secretary, and she admitted on the thing that it is a RSA loan. And if you, and my understanding of it, and please, this is what my understanding of it is. I guess it's somewhere in the fine print. I have not read it. I cannot vouch for it. But they have a year, or they forfeit everything they have. Again, that's what the internet is saying. You know, I don't know. I don't know personally.
Let me say this. If, God forbid that had happened to us, and I was told that this was a $750 loan and I forfeit everything if I don't pay it back, I would make damn sure I didn't pay a fucking thing back. Take nothing. Well, yeah. What are you going to take? I literally lost everything. You're gonna take nothing? Is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah, we don't have debtor prisons in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look, if this doesn't scream, and this is why, and I'm not sure, I'm gonna harp on it a little bit. I just come across some of these posts today. If you got to hang up with our platform because we offered to bring people here for free to learn preparedness, kiss my ass. That's what I'm saying. All right?
Amen.
That's what I got to say.
Amen.
I could care less about. Don't even come to my event if that's where you're at with things, because we are. Look here, guys. I'm not in the business to make money. That's for damn sure. There ain't cash flying out of my ass because I run Mountain Readiness. All right, it's just not happening. All right, I do this because I enjoy it, because I love the people, and because I think that this world has to have things like this for people to learn. And this is a prime example of it. This is the prime example of, look here, guys, no one is coming to save you. Not the government, not nobody, but you and yours. Right here in North Carolina, all this area is mainly being taken care of by neighbors, by people of the community. It ain't Big Brother. I can tell you that right now. Big Brother ain't out here handing out stuff left and right. They're confiscating shit and taking it to God knows where to give away to somebody else.
Yeah, FEMA's confiscated that stuff. T and I were on the phone yesterday about it when I was coming back from this event. And one of the guys at the Central Ohio Gathering event I was at, he had a couple buddies who were working in the area, just happened to be working in the area, and these guys had 3 generators on them. They weren't down there for the relief effort. They were down there for the regular jobs. And FEMA came in and they said, we're taking it. And I said, well, it's not part of the relief effort. They said, we don't care. We're taking it. And they just took everything they could, just took it. And they were taking donations from the neighbors, as we're talking about here, from the neighbors at local high schools. They were set up at local high schools to start bringing in a lot of donations. And FEMA came in and confiscated those donations. Like, wait a minute, this is for the people of our town. They said, not anymore, it's for us.
Yeah. Well, speaking of donations, and T, we talked about this briefly offline, and I'm going to throw this link up here real quick, and then I'll explain why. Okay. Folks, there's a lot of people out there that are trying to do efforts and do reliefs. Grindstone Ministry is run by very good friends of T. I consider him a friend as well. Bear Independent. Okay. Go to Grindstone Ministries. You can click the link if you want to find a way to get into the AO to help on the ground. If you want, they have a list that they're continuously updating and building to get the stuff to where it needs to be. He had a video, and I think you said you shared it on your platforms. Watch that video, guys. Bear is speaking from the heart. Grindstone Ministries. This is where Angery American is starting to push all the people that are sending him his requests. Where can I donate? Where can I donate? We're sending it to grindstoneministries.com. That goes to Bear Independent.
100%.
Bear is out there, and he is boots on the ground with him and his folks.
Man, look, guys, Bear, TJ runs Bear Independent, Grindstone Ministries, Caleb House, and Refuge Medical. He's got his stuff together. If you want to know if there is any organization there is around that you want to know your money is going to the people, for the people, by the people, it's Bear Independent. It's Grindstone Ministries. Honest to God, guys, that guy, every single dime, he actually funds Grindstone Ministry a lot of times from Refuge Medical, which is his actual company that he's supposed to be making a profit and a living from. He covers the offsets. If you're not familiar with them, I'm sure most everybody on here is. But if you are not, jump on there and check out Bear Independent, Refuge Medical, Grindstone Ministries. In this case, Grindstone Ministries is the nonprofit that Bear runs and he loads everybody up and all of his equipment, and he goes wherever these disasters are in the United States. He just goes. I mean, he's got businesses to run, and he drops everything, lets his people take care of it, and he hits the road, whether it be hurricane relief, tornadoes, natural disasters. This dude is for real. TJ is the salt of the earth, and he is also a no-nonsense, no BS kind of guy. There ain't no one going to push him around, and that's what he was doing in that video.
Yeah, he is definitely. He called out, and he basically told him FAFO, and
yeah. And if you check out Grindstone Ministries, you will see the star links that they've been trying to get into all these areas, and everybody's been locking it down. The military, FEMA, Asheville area, all these areas, you can't go in and out. They're letting he snuck in the back door. He's like, screw you. Even made a video. Had his own little Ho Chi Minh Trail. The Appalachian Ho Chi Minh Trail that he and they backpacked these star links into the people to make sure that they could get comms, and so they could get help. And guys, I'm not even kidding you. You have never seen stuff like this. These people are cut off from civilization. I was talking to some of the linemen over in Ashe County, and Ashe County is bad. But it's not as bad there as Asheville is, and Chimney Rock, Lake Lure, and all that. Man, it doesn't even exist. But there's tons of these towns. Ashe County, the same, just wiped off the face of the map. These linemen are saying that they will not be able to restore the power and the roads to these areas for 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years. These people will not have civilization. Think about that for a second. When you're sitting here and you're like, should I really worry about preparedness at this point in time? Hell yes, you should. These people will be going without power for years.
Yeah.
Think about what that would do to your life. And when we have these natural disasters like we've had, if you experienced any of it, take that segment of your life and figure out, okay, how do I make my life better at this point? Because that no power thing is huge. Not only is it huge for being able to get water, keeping food good in the refrigerator, it's a mental thing.
Absolutely.
Are you mentally prepared to go without electricity and running water and facilities? Yeah. I'm sure some of you know this. If you don't, you can manually flush a toilet with a 5-gallon bucket of water. Y'all did it for like 4 days straight. It's not a big deal. but mentally, are you prepared to do that? Are you prepared to live in darkness and go to bed with the chickens and run from candlelight? Are you prepared to go without air conditioning in the summer or heat in the winter? These are the preps that you guys really got to dig deep and start thinking about. And yes, my beautiful wife, I think parts of ash are just as bad. Yes, they are. They're horrible. They're just not getting the coverage. But Ann, I love you. I love you, dear. Thanks for watching. My
Get
wife
better,
usually
Amber.
doesn't watch me.
Yeah, get better, Amber.
Amber usually doesn't watch my shows because she gets so tired of hearing me run my yap all day long about the same stuff. So it's always nice when I see my wife's comments pop up there. It makes me know that she actually loves me. She says, I love you, but going to bed with the chickens, but I definitely need AC. I'm sorry, babe. We're going to have to prepare for that. We're going to have to prepare for that no AC thing. I'm uninstalling it as of tonight.
You're going to have to prepare for that, T. You have to give her a fan and feed her grapes at the same time. Come on, man. Where are you on that?
Exactly. Like some palm leaves,
Well, there you have it.
leaves,
There you go.
the whole thing.
No, great way. If I could jump in, real quick, T.
Jump in,
Anybody who's watching, who's listening, a great way to kind of give yourself a little test is take your power, shut it off for 3 days. Don't just shut it off for 2 days on the weekend when you're at home from work. You know, if you run your typical Monday to Friday job, run it on a day or two where, run this drill on a day or two where you actually have to go to work, whether you work from home or you don't work from home, because that's going to be everyday life. Take it for 3 days, even a week. Shut your power down and try to function without it.
Absolutely. Hey guys, here's another thing: is I despise seeing, as soon as they're like, oh yeah, we're going to get smacked, everybody is 5 miles out of every gas station with all the cans, filling them up. Look, guys, you do not have to have a 500-gallon tank set at your house of fuel. I have 8 or 10 fuel containers for diesel and gas that I rotate the stock out of. It's just like canned goods. It's the same thing. Gas doesn't go bad if you rotate it. You don't have to stabilize it or anything. They stay topped off. I will take my gas can. It's empty because I put it in my truck, or I filled up my lawnmower, or I used it for the wood chipper, or whatever it is that I'm doing that day. I throw it in the back of the truck and I fill it up and I rotate it out with the oldest one and I put the newest one in its place. The worst thing you can do during a natural disaster is be out there trying to fight the hordes and the masses for toilet paper and for fuel and for supplies.
Absolutely.
Okay, because you're no longer a preparedness person. You are part of potentially a bad day is what you are at that point. Because if you get caught out in it, now you're stranded. You're not at your house. Who knows what kind of bad things could be bestowed upon you, whether it be natural or man-made. You literally should have all this stuff in place prior to. You can't solve everything. You can't cover everything. You're going to find deficiencies, but these things, these are the basis. These are the basis. You know you're going to have fuel if you're running a generator. You know you're going to have water stored, all right? You know you should have cash in your pocket. That saved you right there, didn't it, Brian? Having some cash on you.
Yeah, gotta have cash on you. Why carry cash on me anyhow for these shows? You know, I carry a couple $100 in all denominations because a lot of people like to pay with cash at these events. So I have plenty of cash on me. You know, my buddy Phil, as I mentioned earlier, when he drove up from Texas, a lot of these places, they were operating on cash only. If you wanted to purchase anything like food or water or anything else from inside the store.
Yeah, because the POS systems don't work.
Yeah.
Say again, Russ?
Yeah, because the POS card systems don't work because there's no power.
Exactly. And I had a bunch of cash. My buddy Phil was like, yeah, I think that should be good. I got about $30. $30. Come on, Phil, you got your kids with you, man. So obviously I wasn't going to the show. I didn't have to make change. So I gave him a bunch of cash to roll down the roll back home with, just in case he got himself in a tight spot.
Yes. And
Well,
guys, and I know
that's what you
cash
do.
is hard to come by, but look,
That's what you do.
save a couple
And
bucks back. Save a couple bucks back and tuck them into your pocket in the back of the wallet and don't touch it. It is your prep. It's part of your prep. You need that. That cash, it and levels of preparedness, guys, is what we're talking about. So your cash, you should always have some cash and throw it in the back of your wallet. And then when the day comes, you can save up and have you a little bit of gold. There's gold. It doesn't matter. Look. And Chris said it best. I got this from Chris Weatherman. He said a great way of putting it. There may come a day where you need to get somewhere, and that somewhere has a checkpoint there. Or maybe it's FEMA. Maybe it's the military and FEMA that's curtained off your entire area that you live in, and you need to get back in there. And maybe a little piece of gold to the right person gets you where you need to go. All right.
Exactly.
Makes 100% sense to me.
And it falls back to PACE, primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. It applies to comms, but it applies to every situation in everyday life. Your primary, you literally can. You just mentioned it. Okay. Everybody's primary pretty much is a debit card. Okay. Well, what's next? Cash. Then what's after that? Well, then you got gold, whatever, however. I mean, it could be food. bullets, anything. You got to have those priorities, and it just applies. It really does, guys. Yeah.
And Pete, yes, you can use it. You just owe that money back after you use it. Just remember.
Again, this is stuff that I'm reading on X. I heard that DeSantis has turned down a call to your favorite political person who shall remain nameless.
Whore?
That would be the one.
The whore of Babylon,
but supposedly turned it down. So Florida probably will not even get. I'm betting there's going to be 250 max. I don't know what the over under is on it. We ought to maybe start a pool to see what the over under for Florida residents after Milton. We'll have to see on that one. Maybe we'll start a pool, and then all donations, all winners, all of them, we'll do something like that.
Yep. An apocalyptic prepper, if you're still out there on the feed there, Joe Ted-Eye is okay.
Yeah,
I was actually texting him while we were talking here. He shot me a line. He is doing a bunch of training, and he's been doing a bunch of work stuff. That stuff that contractors and stuff do. So that's where Joe is at. He's super busy, and he'll jump on here now and again. But he's just doing I'm a major nope on all that. Right on, Mr. Apocalyptic Prepper there. So yeah, he will. He is safe and sound, doing good where he's at. Their prep's held up as well. They didn't get really beat up in that area, from my understanding.
Yeah, we didn't either. We really didn't either. We lost power for a couple hours at a time the morning of, but was a few limbs down, nothing major. We were truly blessed over down in my neck of the woods.
Yes, and I know Matt King, he still doesn't have power there in South Carolina. He's outside of Greer. I think he said 8 days now. Yeah.
Come on down, man. Or at least send the wife and kids. Bring them down. We'll put them up.
Yeah. Oh, Matt. Matt. Yeah. There you go. You got an open invite. Same thing here, Matt. We can take care of you. There's Chuck over at Homestead Medical. Chuck, thanks for joining us there. How'd you hold up, Chuck? I know. Did you get hit in your area with anything? I talked to you briefly today, but I just wasn't aware of what you guys saw in your area. I know just so many people have just been beat to pieces on this thing, and it's just sad. Here's the sad part is a lot of these people had good preparedness. They were prepared. They just weren't prepared for an ocean to take their property away. We drove way back into Ash. We unloaded the side by side because we couldn't get any further with the truck. Loaded it up with stuff and took off with the side by side. And it got so bad we couldn't drive any longer with the side by side. I mean, literally, I would have flipped this thing. There was no way to get down this road. It just looked like a 4-foot drop off into a rock ravine of a creek. The only way we could tell it was a road was that there was a fiber optic cable that was still laying there that had been buried that didn't come loose. But I mean, other than that, it didn't even look like a road. And so we went on back and we met some people back there that they had chickens and they had goats and they had garden and they had their generators, and it started raining, and the next thing you know, their barn with everything in it went down the river and took their cars away. Flash flooding. There's some videos out there, guys, of this water just 5 seconds comes flying down a mountainside and boom, everything's gone. How do you prepare for that? So yeah, preparedness has layers, and then there's sometimes that Mother Nature just says, sorry.
Yeah.
You're just getting screwed. You can't fight her. You got to know how to work with her. And this particular family, they lost everything. No cars. They couldn't get in and out. The one gentleman had cancer and had to have therapy every Wednesday. The other guy had another, I can't remember what it was. They had to drive all the way to like Winston-Salem or something to get these treatments. No vehicle, no generators, all their stuff washed down the river. This is what these people are dealing with here. So with Grindstone Ministry and places like that, once we get rolling, man, whatever you guys can throw in there, because these people literally lost their lives, their everything. Even if they were alive, even if they walked away with their life itself, their entire life that it took to build what they had is gone. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine if that would have been this house here, which it could have. We got a huge mountain running up the backside, big landslide come down and just take it all away. So let's see, Matt Osborne. Man, we got Matt Osborne. Matt, what's going on, brother? It's been a while since we talked. Matt is a good friend of ours here local. See, it's just as bad in Ash. They just aren't as populated. Roads and homes completely gone. It was go there, church family to try to hand out supplies. Luckily, most people in the smaller communities are more self-sufficient. Amen to that. And glad that, guys, once again, why do you go to these events? Why do you go to Mountain Readiness? Why do you go to Prepper Camp? Why do you go to Ohio, Old School Survival Boot Camp, which changed its name? Can't remember what it is now. Self-Reliance Festival. Because you can't do it without community. And this is how you build community, guys. This right here, people are helping their neighbors. That's what's keeping these people alive and afloat right now. So let's see. Chuck said, nothing in West Virginia. Had high winds, 6 days of rain, lost power 18 hours. Good, brother. I'm glad. Yep, whole house generator. I need to get one of these. I'm just cheap. And I haven't done it yet. I'm just running my little 3,500 watt Honda that won't kick on my water pump.
Well, now here's a question for Chuck. Chuck, you say you got a whole house generator. Now, do you have everything in the house hooked up to that generator, or are you just hooking up like a key few things, some of the lights in some of the rooms, your refrigerator, your deep freezer, things like that? Or do you have everything on the house hooked up to that?
Your home generator, depending on wattage, will handle the entire house. Usually, they have them where it wires up to where it doesn't backfeed, where you can have the whole. Yeah, see, you said runs its whole house. You can have them as long as your generator can run. It hooks up. You don't have to do anything. It automatically switches over. With my parents have that at their house.
Yeah, it doesn't run their whole house, but it runs the key stuff. The HVAC unit.
But now,
refrigerators.
like me, If you're like me and you're a cheap ass and you like rigging stuff up, then you just hot wire it into your fuse box and shut everything down that you're not going to use, and shut the main off. That way, it doesn't backfeed if power comes back on. And it sounds worse. Look, guys, it sounds way worse than what it really is. If you know anything of electrical, I've been construction business for years. I don't recommend to start just plugging stuff into your breaker box, but as long as you kill that master switch, that main, then you're not backfeeding stuff. You don't have to worry about getting hit if the power comes back on.
And neither do the linemen. And neither do the linemen.
And neither do the linemen, because you can zap them boys too. They're up there working on it. All of a sudden, you're backfeeding power down there and blast one of them. So let's see, what do we got here? We got a couple questions. Yeah, and Chuck said it's got an automatic transfer switch. If you can do that, that's the way to go. See, if I was building out a cave type structure into a hill to store, save supplies in the event of a mudslide or flooding. As far as mudslide or flooding, here's what I say to everybody when you're talking about building things like bunkers or root cellars, things like that. You got to think of means of egress. We talked about once on here, people were talking about in their crawl space, using their crawl space as a defensive area. Great idea, because you're subgrade, you're below grade of the dirt, and most foundations are concrete or at least block, and you have little vent cutouts that you could use for your pews to, defend against an attack. However, what happens if you get overrun? How do you get out? So the same thing comes with this here. You guys want to weigh in on that? I mean,
well,
if tornado, yes, mudslide, heavy rains, you got to watch that stuff. You get trapped in there, all of a sudden it fills up with water, or you get completely covered with mud, and now you're subterranean. When you talk about flooding, I'm saying go to higher ground and make sure you got preps for that.
Yeah, I think rereading it, I think what she means is to like store and save some preps in it.
Yeah, okay.
Instead of not necessarily to save herself.
Save supplies.
Yeah,
I missed that part.
I got you back, Heather. I got you.
Yeah, if you got to leave your house, check out the Bureau of Mines. See if you can locate. There are old maps that you can find all the mines in your area, in your hometown. Again, they're very old, but that's a great spot to go for some type of fallout event. Now, who knows who has access to those mines, or even if you can get access to those mines. So even if you can, that's not to say that 1,000 other people can't get access to it. You don't want to put your stores there if you know that there's other foot traffic going through there. But I think it is a great idea to have some sort of map on hand and maybe take a Saturday or Sunday and go out and check out some of these mines, because maybe if you need to leave your home, you can find some sort of fallout solid shelter in one of those mines should the worst occur in your area.
Well, and here's another thing. At Fallout here in not even 2 weeks, we've got Wes with Ford Observer / Gray Zone. Wes is an awesome dude. He is a Green Beret. He has done all the stuff for almost 20 years now, and deployed everywhere. And he's going to be teaching how to build and maintain. There's the key word: maintain caches. So when we're talking about food storage, ammunition storage, whatever it is, there is a lot that comes into play when you talk about stashing and burying items. Number one, you got to keep track of it. Number two, you got to do it correctly or it's ruined. And a lot of people, including myself, and Wes and I talked about this. This is why we're doing this class, is you got to take in consideration frost line. So you bury something and you're above the frost line. When you get that hot, cold temperature, you can build up condensation in your prep, and now it's ruined and destroyed because you didn't bury it at the correct depth. There's tons of stuff that we're talking that goes into maintaining and taking care of your preps. But yes, Heather, apologize. It's been a long couple weeks, and you should definitely. Here's something that doesn't even take any extra effort really at all, as long as they're trustworthy neighbors or family. Store it at friends and family. I have friends and family that we each do different things at preps. That way, it's not all on you. You don't have to sit there and try to think of everything and store everything, and then your house looks like this. You rely on your community. Be like, hey man, you take care of water. I'm going to keep a little bit over here, but you do a big amount of it, and then I'm going to take care of some freeze dried whatever. So lean on your friends and family, and have them pitch in and save at each other's house, because let's be honest, what happens if your house just catches on fire? Maybe your house burns down. You just lost everything right there. Right there, it's gone. Doesn't have to be a natural disaster. Could just be dumb luck of shit happens. So,
and that comes into the, you talking about the house catch on fire. Christmas time, Christmas tree lights, families catch on fire. It happens every year.
Yeah, it does.
Every year. You guys be careful when it comes to stuff like that. But go ahead, T. I didn't.
I'm sleep deprived. I think all of us are here. Patrick, CR123 batteries rechargeable. I'm a disposable battery guy. I just do the same thing with my batteries that I do with gasoline and everything else. I rotate them out. That's same thing with food. Same thing with the whole bit. I'm about rotating stock on batteries, gas, food. Whatever it may be, all of my preps, I just rotate them. And rechargeable is good. I've got rechargeable batteries. You do too, Brian. You always, they saved you there in the parking lot. Yeah, your rechargeable batteries there.
Yeah, rechargeable batteries and rechargeable solar banks. I carried 4 of them with me. I always charge. I mean, you can charge them in the sun, or you can charge them at home. So I make sure I charge everything at home before I hop in the car to travel anywhere. And yeah, it did save my rear end big time.
Yes, that's awesome, Brian Menard. Freeze dryer. Yeah, man. Freeze dried food. If you can afford it, guys, awesome. If you can't afford buying a freeze dryer, hook up with your neighbors who do have freeze dryers. I just seen Matt King said he needs some more. Absolutely, brother. We will take care of you, because that's what we do here in community. Russ has one. He's doing some stuff for Brian. I wouldn't call them preps, but
hey, comfort items. That is a part of your preps. You got to have those comfort items.
Fiddle honey is definitely part of my prep.
That is awesome. Brian, leave us with some knowledge. We're going to go around like we always do. Leave us with some knowledge here.
All right. As we mentioned earlier when we first got started, I had the unfortunate experience of being trapped in some of that BS, but I did pretty okay. I made it out all right. It was a good little test. As I said, what do you want to keep in your vehicle? That's pretty much all I had. I wasn't carrying all my regular bags with me because I had a trailer full of thousands and thousands of dollars full of survival equipment, but I always make sure I keep gear in my car. So you want to make sure you have stuff in your car if you run into, such an event. Like T was talking about, some spare fuel, some rotated fuel, so it's not old fuel, some food, some fire making stuff, plenty of cold weather gear, plenty of rain gear, toilet paper and wet wipes. Absolutely, toilet paper and wet wipes. So do kind of an inventory of your vehicles. Everybody should be. I mean, that's your main way to get from point A to point B, whether you're trying to just get home from work or to work, or you're going out for the weekend, or an emergency happens. Make sure you take an inventory of what you have in your vehicle. Maybe get online and ask some people, hey, what are some of the things you carry in your vehicle? And there's going to be people out there that they carry the kitchen sink in there. You don't really need that. Just make sure you have what you need. Should you be trapped out there for half a day, a couple of days, whatever it might be, do what fits for you, what makes sense for you.
Absolutely. Hit us with something, Russ. You guys are gearing up with the hurricane, and all of our friends and family and community here in Florida. That's not looking good for this next up and coming.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with what Brian just said about the vehicle. You know, my wife and I, we just spent 50 days on the road. We were blessed. We only had one minor incident, which was my fault. You know, something simple, broke the awning on the camper. But at least I had the tools to be able to secure it and make it home. You know,
Yes.
simple things like that. But once, man, it's weird being on this side of the podcast. So, but I guess what I'll leave it the way I usually do, and I 100% agree. Get training, folks. Work with your community, and you know they always talk about the dash. You know, you have your birth date and your end date, and you have your dash. Shit's gonna happen, folks. It is. It's the nature of the beast. Murphy's gonna be around. It's gonna happen, but live for today and just prepare for tomorrow. And that's all I got.
Man, no, it's great. Guys, we've run over. We talked about a lot of important stuff. We could, you know, as always, it's always good to hang out with all of you guys out there and answer questions and talk about things going on in the world, because our biggest savior in what's going on with all this, next to God himself, is our community. And this, what we're doing right here, is community. If there's just a little something that somebody got out of this, then praise the Lord. We've done exactly what we're trying to do, and that is help prepare one another. You know, I don't have all the answers. Brian doesn't have all the answers. Russ doesn't have, no one does, but things that we've talked about just tonight have clicked switches in my head. And I was like, oh yeah, man, I need to throw that in the truck right there. That's a, you know, that drone. That's going in the truck, man. That's going in the truck.
Mine is too.
100%. So, you know, this is how we prepare. It's community, family, friends is what is holding up these little towns around here that are not getting any help from the outside. So, guys, as always, we love you. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you tune in next Monday. And if you're going to move, make sure you move with purpose. This is T. Peace out. God bless. And y'all be safe. Keep doing what you're doing.
Good night, everyone.